Hi everyone, welcome to the Growth Chat. Thank you for joining us today. I am Mansi from Mailmodo, your host for the evening, and today we'll be talking all about newsletters. Today we have Jens Lenatson with us. Jens is a newsletter and email marketing genius who has helped like 100 plus businesses to grow their newsletters at the Marketing Mule and is also building his own newsletter called The Marketing Mindset. Thanks for joining us, Jens. We are really happy to have you with us today. Let's get started by hearing more about you and your journey with newsletters. Over to you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's super fun to be here. Uh, I started out at 2005. I did like newspaper photography. I did travel photography. I shot for magazines and everything like that. And I basically did that full time for 10 or 12 years. And during that time, so this started around 2006 somewhere, I always had my newsletter. I always had my mailing list because I'm quite of a ADHD personality, so I do have a lot of different projects within the sphere that I'm working in right now. So I used my mailing list to keep in touch with people about my projects. It could be customers, it could be people just interested in what I have to do. So I did that for years and years and years, and it's always worked very well. Then in 2013, I wanted to do something out of the box for marketing purposes. Well, it actually became very in the box, but let me explain what I mean. So in 2013, I created my own action figure. Actually, I created 400 pieces of myself. Actually, I have one here.
Wow,
And let's see if we can see that.
that's
So
really amazing. That's really cool.
I ordered these from China, I think. So they are not 3D printed. They are from like a molded. You can even move the little tiny camera.
Wow.
And I
And what are you?
included a portfolio in it and stuff like that. So I did this to promote my photography business.
Wow.
And during this year it took me to actually create this action figure, I started to become very interested in the whole marketing thing. Like, how can you reach out to the people you want to reach out to? How can you get more people to see you and what you do? So, funny enough, as I was working with this action figure and was planning to use that to grow my photography business, I realized I was kind of tired of the entire photography thing, because back then, this is almost 8 or 9 years ago, photography started to be everywhere. So everything was photography. You had Instagram, Facebook, Flickr, whatever it was. So something in me just said like, hey, I'm done with this for now. I want to do something else. So quite seamlessly, I pivoted into the marketing space, thanks to this first marketing stunt that I did. So right after the action figure came out, I published a video about it. That video went everywhere. I had like thousands and thousands of visitors on my website, like at any given moment during 2 months. So after that, after releasing this photography marketing piece, I quit being a photographer and started doing marketing instead. And I always loved to write. I've always been very good at writing. And email became the obvious choice. So that's basically the short, long story, the backstory of how I came into this space of email marketing.
Wow, wow, that's pretty amazing. So maybe sometime we'll also have to do a session with you on learning photography, maybe, sometime
Well,
else.
I wish not. I wish not. There are plenty of that out there already. So,
Great. Yeah. Pretty amazing, interesting story there, Jens. We really love to hear that. And so, more about, let's just get on to newsletters, and let's get on to, what was your, journey, or like, what do you really feel is the problem, when it comes to getting more subscribers for your newsletters? What have you seen? We often hear businesses and independent newsletter creators on various communities, or even social media, creating a good subscriber base is really difficult. Like, most of the people are complaining about that. Most of the people are saying that this is a major problem. So, especially when they're starting off. So what do you think, why is it so difficult to get newsletter subscribers? I mean, you also must have probably faced this sometime in your career.
so the problem people are having, or the mistake people are doing when they are not getting any traction with their email, with their newsletters, it's the same mistake they do when they are not getting enough Twitter subscribers or Facebook followers or Instagram followers or YouTube followers. Uh, Email's been around for 50 years this year. It was 50 years this year since the first email was sent. And people are saying the newsletter market is saturated. You shouldn't create newsletters because there's already so many. And I mean, this is not the truth at all. Just look at all the platforms out there, all the content. It's not about the amount of newsletters out there. The problem people are having, the mistake they are doing, is trying to reach too many people. They want to get 1,000 subscribers. So they want to get 10,000 newsletter subscribers. And they think, if I want a lot of subscribers, I need to appeal to a lot of people. So they make their topic wide, they make their topic big. They're writing about marketing, or they're writing about cryptocurrency, or they're writing about copywriting. So the topic is super, super big, and the potential audience is also then super, super big, because they think if it's a big audience, it's easier to reach a lot of subscribers. But that is wrong, because the more people you are trying to reach, or the more people you want to reach, the more energy, the more time, the more money you need to put into that. Think about Coca-Cola or companies making toilet paper. They have to pump in billions and billions of dollars each year just to remind people about who they are and what they can offer. And they need to do that every day, every month, every year. As soon as you stop doing that, people will start forgetting about them. So when you are trying to write for everyone, it's almost impossible to reach those people. So what I suggest that you do, let's say you are thinking about starting your newsletter right now. You haven't started it yet, or maybe you did start it, but you're not seeing any results. You're getting a few subscribers now and then. Nothing is really happening. What I suggest you do then is think about, what is my niche? And a niche can be defined by the people you're reaching out to, the people you want to reach, and the topic you're talking about. So instead of doing writing about cryptocurrency, yet another newsletter about cryptocurrency, you should find a niche within that segment. So instead of doing cryptocurrency, you do the metaverse crypto, or the metaverse crypto tokens. Or if you want to write about marketing, instead of writing about marketing in general, you write about email marketing, or you write about email marketing for Spanish writers, or for female writers, or for CEOs or female CEOs in Spain. So the more narrow you make your topic, the easier it will be for you to reach those people. So basically, the first thing, or the most important thing you need to do, is to pick a small segment of people, a small niche, and you need to make it even more defined, even more narrow. And that's how you will tell the people that get in touch with you if it is for them or if it's not for them. And you don't have to be afraid about that your newsletter won't be for everyone, because nothing is. But the more you can define your newsletter or the things you talk about on Twitter, the easier it is for those people that really, really, really want to read about that to click that subscribe button. Let me see, I seem to have lost your...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, I
Oh,
think I was
cool.
mute. So, yeah, I was saying I agree with that. And, refining your audience is basically important. And this sort of, creating a niche, having a particular topic or format of, creating newsletters, I think that really helps in refining the audience that you are choosing for your newsletters. And that will obviously help you, promote your newsletters also in the right way to get more subscribers, right? So from that, of course, the important question arises that, what should be the format of the newsletter? How do you go about deciding, what's your, probably the theme of the newsletter, or what's your topic of the newsletter, or the niche that you're deciding on? So how do you go about, deciding that? What are the things that you keep in mind? Anything that you want to share there?
So it all comes back to three things. What do you know? What's your knowledge that you can share? And you don't have to be an expert on what you're about to share. You can either be an expert or know a lot about one topic, or you can share your journey of learning that topic. So whether or not you're an expert, you need to know the topic you want to talk about at first. And then secondly, it needs to be something that you at least think people want, information people are looking for, problems people want solutions to, and questions they want answers to. And then thirdly, you need to look at what's already out there. So when it comes to format of a newsletter, you can say that the two basic formats, or the two basic types of content, is curated content, where you pick and choose from hundreds or thousands of different sources online, and you select the golden nuggets and you package them into an email and send it out. That will make your readers a big favor. I mean, it would take them literally tens or hundreds of hours to search through the entire internet for that goal that you're delivering them. So when you are curating content for a specific niche, you are saving them time. The second format, the second type of content, is naturally uniquely written content. So basically a blog post, but in the form of a newsletter. So when you do that kind of topic, that kind of content, you're able to dive deeper into a specific topic, a specific niche topic. And you can explain stuff, you can make people realize certain things. And you can, of course, do a mix of these two. You can have uniquely written content, you can have curated content, but which one to choose depends on, well, first, again, what you can and what you feel comfortable doing. If you aren't very good at writing, or you don't feel that you are, maybe you shouldn't start with a uniquely written post each day, each week. But it also depends on your audience, your niche audience. If you know that they have a lot of information in their industry, and it's super hard to keep up with everything, maybe the most valuable thing you can give them is a curated newsletter, so they don't have to go through it themselves. Or if they are really into like food for thoughts, they want to know a lot about a specific topic, then that's what you should give them. And going back to what I said before, can also depend on what's out there already. Let's go back to cryptocurrency, for example. There's tons of newsletters about cryptocurrency. But if you still want to write about that, you found your niche within crypto, take a look at what's already out there. I'm sure there's tens or hundreds of newsletters with curated content, like the latest news in the crypto universe. But maybe there's not too many newsletters that goes really deep into one specific token, one specific project. So in that case, do that. There's no one size fits all. You need to know what you can be writing about, what you want to be writing about. You need to figure out what your audience wants, and you need to take a look at what's already out there, because all this is about positioning yourself. All this is about telling people within a few seconds that this newsletter is different from all the other newsletters in this industry because of this.
Right. Yeah, that is true. And so I mean, I of course agree with, like, if you are good at writing, you should be probably go ahead and write original content, and if that's something that your audience also looks for, and go for curated content if that's, if there's a lot of content out there on the topic that you're talking about, then you of course sort of summarize it for them and share it in your newsletter, so it's easier for your audience to go through it. That makes sense. So it still comes down to one thing, that is the value that you deliver from these newsletters, basically. So how, and I think this value will be seen from probably the shareability of the newsletter. One thing, one metric could be that, to measure the value that you're giving. So what can you do to make sure that people are sharing your newsletters, people are there's this word of mouth, your newsletter is growing through word of mouth, and not just other activities that you're doing to grow it, like sharing it with a friend or something. Yeah.
I mean, the well, I mean, I want to say this in general, because when you are writing, if you want to create a great newsletter, a newsletter that will actually give value to your audience, your readers, you need to understand that it will take time. It will take time till you get to the first 100 subscribers, to the first 200 subscribers, to the first 1,000 subscribers. And instead of trying to reach those made up numbers as quickly as possible, even if of course, if you're writing a good newsletter, you should share it. I mean, you want people to read it because it's value inside it, and you want as many people as possible to get it, to subscribe to it. But you shouldn't let the hunt for subscribers take its toll on the actual content. So before I go on, I just want to say, don't rush it. Don't try to get to 1,000 subscribers just because you want to reach that magic number. it will always take time to create good content. That being said, there are, of course, lots and lots of ways to grow your newsletter. So first of all, you need to have good content. That is self-explanatory. Secondly, or it actually comes first, what we talked about before. Have a very specific niche audience. Have a very specific problem that you solve for that niche audience. Because if people can understand quickly and easily what the newsletter is about, they will be able to share it with the right people. So if you write about marketing, it's very hard for someone to suggest that newsletter to a friend because it's so broad. But if your newsletter is about smart ways to grow yoga studios, everyone with a friend in yoga will share that newsletter with you, with them. So again, that's why it's so important to have a niche. Then a newsletter itself is very slow on spreading. Word of mouth only takes off after, I would say, a few thousand subscribers. Then you can see a real results, a real something happening because of word of mouth. But before you're reaching that level, you need to use the other platforms you are on to share your newsletter. So for me, I'm using Twitter a lot, and I'm promoting my newsletter on Twitter. And I'm always a big advocate of repurposing content. So you don't have to rewrite content all the time, or write new pieces of content all the time to post on this platform or that platform. Take what you already have. You spend a lot of time in creating your newsletter, whether it's curated, whether it's uniquely written. Use that content on all the other platforms you have. So when you have a newsletter and you post, you send a new issue, make it into a blog post so people can find that same content from a quick Google search, like 1 year, 2 year, 5 years from now. And at the bottom was a pop-up, say, hey, do you like this? Then you're gonna love my weekly newsletter. Before you send each issue, post a tweet saying, hey, in 2 hours, I'm gonna send the next issue of Marketing Mindset. It's gonna contains these 5 super cool things. And then you write the problems they are solving or something that will really, really make people want to read it. And you post the link. And after you've posted your newsletter, take the entire thing, rewrite it, repurpose it so it works as a thread. Threads are great on Twitter. They work really, really great. And post it on Twitter in its full, like in the entire newsletter, just slightly rewritten. And at the bottom, the same thing. If you like this, you're gonna love my weekly newsletter on this and that. So word of mouth today isn't really what it was 10 years ago, that I would tell you, like in an email or face to face, that, hey, you should try this product. Hey, you should try this. You should check this website out. You should read this newsletter. Nowadays, so much is happening, so you need to make it easy for people to share your newsletter. If they are reading the newsletter and you put out a post with the entire content of the previous newsletter issue, they want to share that, and you make it easy for them to share that with their friends on Twitter. So 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people were actually saying it face to face. You should check this out. Now, so much is happening, so you need to make it easy for people to actually share your newsletter. And you do that through your other social platforms.
Right. You can, I think, also do that by probably having, like, a share button on your newsletter. like share it with a friend, or like a Twitter or any social icon on the newsletter from where they can just go ahead and share the newsletter, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't experimented too much with that. I
Right.
I always make sure to have like read this in your browser link in each newsletter, because people know they can go there and get a link.
Yeah.
And also, people get, if you have this share this newsletter in each issue, people become a little bit blind to it. So you could try different things. You could try to have it in each, and then you do like a push once in a while, like, hey, let's get it to 1,000 subscribers, and I will release this free e-course for everyone subscribing to the newsletter, something like that.
Yeah. Like a lead magnet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Great. So I think you've told us a lot of things about, how you probably go about posting on Twitter. You first share on the before you share the newsletter, you go on Twitter and share a post saying that, this is what you're going to talk about in your next newsletter and stuff. But still, let's talk about the overall process that you follow. Like when you got your first 1,000 newsletters, newsletter subscribers. What was your process? What was the process that you followed to get those first 1,000 subscribers for your own newsletter, so that we can also learn from that entire journey of yours.
So my process or my story is a little bit. Um, it's not the optimal one, because I started out as a photographer, and a lot of people, like 8 years ago, most people on my newsletter, my mailing list, were interested in the photography part. But for the newsletters I've created since for companies, for my other projects, I do have a quite specific process that I follow. So first of all, the idea for the newsletter almost always comes from a tweet or a thread that I'm writing. So maybe I'm writing a tweet and I'm getting a lot of interactions, a lot of comments, a lot of retweets, a lot of likes on that. And I usually purpose that tweet into a thread. So basically I take a tweet and I make it to a blog post, but on Twitter. And I'm trying to expand on the idea in the first initial tweet. And often I get a lot of interactions, a lot of comments on that thread itself. And I start talking about it, start asking people, would you want to see a newsletter about this, about that? And if a lot of people are telling me, yes, that would be great, I almost always write the first issue of the newsletter and send it out without having any subscribers. Because then I can create the landing page for the project with the sign-up box, and I can also post a link to a previous issue of the newsletter. That's usually how I go about it. And after that, I post it on Twitter usually. And as always, if you have a newsletter about, well, for me, email marketing or email marketing for SaaS businesses, then your entire Twitter feed and all the platforms you're using to get people to that specific newsletter should be about the same thing. Because if you dilute it, if you talk about different things, it would be harder for people to find you. It would be harder for people to understand what you're talking about, for you to then later funnel them into the newsletter. So when you have the newsletter, make sure that it is in line with what you're talking about on your other platforms, so the platforms you want to use to promote the newsletter. And posting, saying, hey, sign up for my newsletter, and post a link, it only works that many times. It will get old quite quickly. So you can only be doing that for like once a week, twice a week. You'll have a link in the bio for people to sign up. But what I usually do is keep writing content on, let's use Twitter as an example. I write content about the same kind of questions that you can find answer to in the newsletter. And I have an automated system that will put an extra tweet at the bottom of those threads, getting extra attention, getting a lot of interaction. So when they reach like 10 retweets, or 20 likes or 50 likes, whatever it is, there will be an extra added tweet at the bottom of that thread saying, hey, if you like this one, you're going to love the newsletter. And also, as we talked about before, like when I'm about to send out a new issue of the newsletter, I post a tweet saying, hey, in two hours or tomorrow, I'm going to send out this newsletter. It's about this and this and that. When I've sent it out, I post everything as a thread. And all of these tweets, all of these threads have links to the actual sign-up page. And this is what's working really, really well for me. I'm on a good day, on a good thread, I can get 50 to 100 new subscribers from one single thread on Twitter, just because I point them to the sign-up page.
Great, right. So, going from sharing your newsletters on social and promoting it organically, can you also probably share some of your views on paid promotions for newsletter? Like, how do you go about, or do you really favor promoting your newsletters on the paid channels? What do you think about that, and how to go about it if you think that? Yeah.
I mean, I think you should, as soon as possible. I mean, you can do it before you have any subscribers, or you can do it when you have 10 or 50 or 100 subscribers. As soon as possible, you should have something to sell, or actually, let's put it the other way around. You should have something for people to buy, because when you start to give people lots of value, some of them will want to have more. They will want to get more knowledge within that knowledge bubble, within that niche. So as soon as possible, you should have something to sell. That could be a simple ebook. You can write that in 24 hours. It could be a swipe file. It could be a video workshop, half an hour video workshop. It could be coaching, 1 hour coaching with yourself. Anything that will help people, that most people, 95%, 99%, will, for them, it will be enough with the free content you put out. But for 1% or 5%, they want more. They will want a shortcut to the solution. And you can give them that. And they're happy to pay for it by creating some kind of a product as soon as possible. I didn't have a product to sell for the first 10 years of my newsletter. I only shared my photos. I only shared my stories. And people started to email me asking me, hey, do you have something I can buy? They didn't have a specific problem they needed a solution for. They just wanted to give back to me because I had given them so much value. So as soon as possible, create something to sell, something people can buy. And as soon as that starts to generate some money, you could definitely use that for paid promotions. I know a guy named Josh Spector who's doing the For the Interested newsletter. He's selling like ad spots in his newsletter for like $100, and you'll get around like 150 and 200 clicks for those ads. And in general, people are saying like each subscriber on your newsletter is worth $1 a month. So if you have 100 subscribers, in theory, that'll mean you could be making $100 a month. You could make more than that. You can make less than that. But that means you need to have something to actually offer them. So paying, let's say, $100 to get 100 new subscribers, in theory, that would pay for itself within 1 month. So I definitely think you should explore paid marketing for newsletters. I mean, you can do that in several different ways. You can talk to people already with other newsletters in the niche. You could just boost or promote one of your posts on Twitter, for example. I usually let my own newsletters grow quite organically, but for different customers, different clients, we usually do like we make sure the content is great. We make sure it's shareable content, and then we often pay to share the back issues of a newsletter, or share or boost a tweet with the thread, with the content from the newsletter and stuff like that. So I'm always in favor of promoting the content instead of the product, if that makes sense. So promoting the sign-up page might work. It all depends on the industry. It all depends on the niche. But in general, I often see that promoting the content itself is more powerful. That will generate more results in the long run.
Yeah, so I think that makes sense, because once you deliver value, once you're giving value to your audience, of course they'll come back and uh, you know uh, buy from you or sign up on your platform. I mean, of course, so the value is very very important here. So the content, promoting your content is important, right? But you still kind of favor probably organic more than promoting your newsletter organic more than having paid promotions for it.
Yeah, you will more often get more quality subscribers that will actually stick around for longer, buy more of the products you're putting out, because they love the content and they are like deeply involved in the content, in the questions itself.
Right. Great. I think we've come towards the end of our conversation here. I, for the people watching it, I would love if I and Jens would love to have any questions here. You can just put it on the comments, and we'll take it up as it comes. Um, just one last question from my end, about the referral programs out there. There are quite a few referral programs for newsletters that I come across, and I would love to hear some about those from you, and what tools to use for that, and how do they work, and like, are they a good idea for growing a newsletter subscribers?
I actually started and spent quite some time on building one of those referral tools last year with a friend of mine. We ended up not continuing doing that, not because it wasn't a good idea, but we didn't have the time, we didn't have the energy. I haven't used any of those tools in depth, so I can't say too much about it. I starting to feel like that way of, and this is just a feeling, I don't have any data to back this up. I'm starting to feel like referral tools for newsletters are popping up everywhere. Almost every newsletter is having them. And that makes me personally less inclined to take part of it, because it feels starting to feel like a gimmick. But it's all about like the tiers you have, like the things you offer for people to refer others to your newsletter. It's all about what you offer. If you offer like shallow stuff, like T-shirts and stickers and stuff like that. People might share it with a lot of people, but I don't think the results, the people coming in, are high quality. But if you use it to give people access to like knowledge or products, e-products, educational products, stuff like that, that might very well work. Or if you use them to get people access to your community or something like that, that might work. But I don't know enough about it. I haven't tried it enough to give any kind of hard advice on it.
Yeah, that's pretty understandable there. Great. Thanks for your point of view there. And yeah, we're having quite a good time here with you, Jens. A lot of insights on how to grow newsletters and how to go about the whole process of it. And I think somewhat like the a lot of it is something we also follow at Mailmodo when we are writing newsletters. We make sure that it's the value in the content that we focus on, and not just about the number of subscribers that we have, or not just about uh, yeah, so it's more about delivering the value in the content. We try to mix both curated content as well as original content in our newsletters to sort of have a mix. And yeah, so I think that's working for us till now. Yeah, we hope to kind of get some use these learnings from you as well to grow our newsletters. And I'm sure people who were listening to this conversation would also take a lot of insights back, and that will also help them grow their newsletters for sure.
You will always need to uh, try stuff out and change stuff, because you will never get it right the first time. You will never create the perfect newsletter that will get 10,000 subscribers for the first week. That just doesn't happen. So just do something, make it as good as you possibly can, see what people are saying about it, and change it, make it better as you go. If it doesn't work with curated content, if people don't want that, ask them what they want. Ask them, how could I deliver like $100 to your newsletter, to your inbox each week? What will give you loads and loads of value? Just ask people and they will tell you. And then you change it and try it again and see if that works.
Right, right. And yeah, I think what you said, like going to communities, also kind of helps to understand what people are talking about in your niche. When you have chosen a niche, you can just go to those communities and see what people are talking about. What's the pain point, that people are generally asking questions around. So that could also help, for us, for people who are building newsletters, for them to go ahead and create content that actually is solving that particular pain point. So that's I think, yeah, that makes sense. Great. So I think, yeah, let's wrap it up here. I think we have covered most of the things in this conversation, and we really loved talking to you. Is there anything else you'd want to share or tell us as a parting note?
I could keep going about email marketing for hours, but I'm going to spare you that. It's been super fun to talk about it, as you probably notice, and I would
Yeah.
love to do it again.
Yeah, yeah, we love talking to you as well, Jens. All right, thank you for joining. Thanks for joining, everyone, in this group chat. We'll see you again next time. And yeah, that was a great model you created there.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.